A date in my mind is like you go out, like a girl gets dressed up. She
Yeah.
takes time to like do herself up. And the guy,
Should guys get dressed up?
yes,
Talk about that for a minute.
smell
Truly.
good, smell good,
Burn the
look
cargo shorts.
good, make a plan.
Welcome to Pastor of the People. I am Hunter Carter. Across from me is Scott Brown. As always, we want to say a very special welcome to all the fine people listening, most likely just New Valley people, perhaps my mom. But in particular, one special person we get to say welcome to immediately is sitting across from us as well, and that is the wonderful Becky Brown. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah. I almost said Becky Josephine Brown, but what's your middle name?
Rebecca Lynn Brown.
Why Josephine?
It's like a Russian princess. I don't know.
Well, I do put out that vibe.
Russian
have told
princess
me.
vibes.
I think that's what most people think of you when they think of you, Becky.
She's a
Yeah.
Brit.
Well, we're going to get into a really great episode, which is what wives wish their husbands knew. So that is one of the reasons Becky is here. Of course, Becky could be here for all the episodes. It's probably a blunder that you weren't here for the first three, but we're so glad to have you with us, Becky. We have a couple of PSA, public service announcements. Scott, you and I both do. So you want to share yours or me share mine first? I could share mine if you want.
Yeah, you go first.
Well, let me say first, this is one of really kind of like a part one, part two thing. We've got this episode, what wives wish their husbands knew, and then the next episode down the pike would be what husbands wish their wives knew.
Yes.
So this episode, in one sense, is incomplete without the next. They go together. And
Right.
one of the things I wanted to just share with people is there are some really great books that I will probably reference, and they are called For Men Only and For Women Only, Shanti Feldhahn, and then Shanti and Jeff Feldhahn. These are some really great books, and they're personal to me, actually, and I could share why later, but this would be some really great homework, for couples. If you're looking for a practical thing to do to really try to understand the other, these are some great resources. So later in the episode, I'll probably make mention of them, but just wanted to let you guys know those books. They're really great for couples to go through. So that's my announcement. Scott, what's yours?
Yeah, excellent. There's two things I wanted to mention. The first is that this conversation today is coming out of a conversation that Becky and I had with a group of people from our church, married couples, and we had kind of a combined conversation, and then we knew that we were going to be doing these episodes, and so I had a conversation with men about what husbands would want their wives to know, and Becky had a conversation with women about what they would want their husbands to know, and so that's a lot of the stuff we'll be talking about today kind of flowed out of that conversation and a little bit of our own research, like from books like these, but in our own lives. But yeah, the second and most important one is that I just wanted to thank Becky for being here. And also just to say, Becky is our director of women's ministry at New Valley Church. She also happens to be my wife and my best friend. And I just want to say that I love being your husband, and I'm very glad that you're here with us. And I want to commend her voice to you if you're listening to this podcast. You may not know her if you don't go to New Valley, but she is a woman among women. She is, in many respects, as I read Proverbs 31, I think of my wife Becky. She, above all, she's one of the most profoundly sincere Christians I've ever known. You're a wonderful wife and mother, and you love women in our church so well, and she makes time for them. She loves them sincerely and pours her life into them. And so thank you, honey.
I appreciate it. I, feel woefully inadequate at times to speak to something extremely important as everything we're going to be talking about today. But we have been married a long time.
We have.
We, we're part of this church that we love so much, and we know that this is a huge, important topic. And if I have anything of wisdom that the Lord has given me to share, I definitely want to do that.
Yeah.
Although this is very nerve-wracking, I will say.
Yeah. Well, the Magic Man Aaron makes it feel like a real studio.
Well, good. He does. I mean, it's a little intimidating, but, a door opens and you walk through it. And I have a PSA, which I just found out is a public service. It's not really a public service announcement, but just as I was thinking about talking about this today, I was thinking that truly just as men and women are very different, women are very different from one another. So there's generalizations that can be somewhat helpful. Like women maybe are typically more communicative or organized, talkative, nurturing, dependent, and that sort of thing. But it can be dangerous to think about women in those generalizations exclusively. So husbands, your wives are distinct and unique, and you have your whole lifetime to try to have fun figuring them out and seeing them as this exciting challenge instead of a defeating burden.
Wow.
That's a good word.
Just golden bars from the very beginning. Thank you, Becky.
Truly.
Yeah, this is why we brought Becky, and no one at New Valley will be surprised by this, but if you don't go to our church, having Becky here is a big deal. So Scott and I were not thinking that we would just come on and as dudes just
Mansplain.
Mansplain and speak for womankind. And so thank you, Becky.
Instead, Becky, you get to speak
I get
for
to.
all women
Oh, yikes.
to all husbands.
So-
Yikes.
All right, so this episode matters because what wives wish their husbands knew. The episode presumes a sort of lack of knowledge on the part of men, which is there. True. I'm reminded of the lack of knowledge, and I was made painfully aware of it in college. It relates to these books. Very short story. I was kind of an item in college. I know it might be hard
kind
to
of a
believe.
big deal around here.
Yeah. Lots of Riz and aura, like
Really?
as the kids say. Oh yeah,
Riz before there was Riz.
yeah, I was the pre-Riz, and all these girls wanted to date me. I had no idea. I had decided not to date anyone in college because I had dated someone in high school.
All these girls wanted
these
to
girls.
date.
My
man.
wife Marguerite can testify. She's the one. She's the champion among women.
Okay.
But
She won.
she won for sure. But before I met Marguerite and was even more of an idiot, I had this one experience where there was this girl who I just thought we were really good friends. But we spent a lot of time together and we had a lot of conversations together. And it became apparent that other people thought that we were an item. So I wanted to tell this girl that we were not an item. And so I went to her and basically said, hey, so-and-so, you know what? I just want you to know that I really like you. And
You have a great personality.
yeah, I know. And she was like, okay. And I was like, and I've heard that, you like me too. I think you like me. She's like, yeah. And I was like, well, that's great. I said, well, look, I really love being friends with you. And that's all I want us to be, if that's okay. And
Yeah.
she was like, yeah. And I was like, great. It was such a good conversation.
Right.
And then her best friend called me the next day and was like, what the heck did you do? And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, we just had this great conversation. It went so well.
Right.
And she's like, it did not go well. You just told this girl that you like her. Like, you have no idea what you've done. And she actually pushed these books on me for men only, for women only. And I read them. They spread like wildfire among our friends, and it was really good. But one of the things that this wise friend said to me, the best friend of the other friend, she said, the difference between man and woman is as great or greater than like the difference of personality type. When you meet someone with a different personality type, you just say, oh yeah, we're different, and you adapt. But there's this weird thing that guys do, maybe more than women. Guys just kind of assume that women are like them. And obviously we're all created in the image of God.
That's true.
But women are other. They are. There are differences. And so
As are men.
What's that?
As are men.
As are men. What's the order of the old school books? Men are from
Venus.
And women are from Mars or the other way around.
Yeah.
Something like
Well,
that.
men and women are different. And one of the things in this book that it talks about is the way that women's brains are different. Okay. So this is from the book for men only, but it actually talks about how women tend to be thinking about multiple thoughts and emotions in a short period of time. It's like having multiple windows open and running on my computer at the same time. And there is a literal difference between their brains. The difference between white matter and gray matter. Gray matter is like the computing power of the brain, whereas white matter is like the network cables that connect things. And women have, in general, more white matter in their brains than men do, and men have more gray matter. And so one of the practical implications of that is that when men are thinking about something, they're thinking about that.
Yeah.
So Becky, what's it like for you to think?
My white matter is just getting busy all day long. It is true. Like we have, you think about what you're going to do that day. You think about your kids and what they're going to be doing, and your meals, what you're going to be preparing, perhaps, and your work. And I have a running to-do list in my head. I think of something, and I used to remember it. Now I have to put it down on my phone right away, or I will never remember it. But it is. I just feel like, and I'm just used to it. I just feel like there's a lot going on up there, and I just kind of take it 1 minute at a time, but I don't feel like I'm just on one thing.
Do you guys ever have this, Scott and Becky, where like, do you ever ask Scott, what are you thinking about? And Scott, do you ever just say like nothing? And does that ever happen? Like, do you ever you're not really thinking about anything?
The only time I asked him that was the first night that we said that we liked each other.
Oh, well, what's that story?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I just said, Penny, for your thoughts, because I was embarrassed to like ask him because it was weirdly like quiet, and we both kind of knew we liked each other. But I said it in Spanish because that's normal, and
Romantic.
And he was like, he didn't know exactly what I meant.
I knew enough Spanish to get it wrong, and I thought she said, "It's getting late" in Spanish. Instead, she said, "A penny for your thoughts." How would you say that?
And I don't remember. It was a super long time ago. But
Anyway.
that's the last time I think I've asked him.
Otherwise, she learned pretty fast to not ask me what I'm thinking, because we ended up getting married.
And then she just knew exactly what you're thinking.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. I feel like what I have experienced in approaching Becky and over the years, like our life is far less complex than it used to be in some ways, and maybe more complex in others now. But when I used to come home, or having been out for the day or whatever, when we were planting the church in the early days and our boys were little, I would have preferred her to be able to drop everything else and like, okay, we're together now. Let's be together. But what I had to learn was that she, and this is still true for her, is that she has the mental load going. She has the way the women in our group put it, they're running like 47 tabs at once in their browser. And so for Becky, I often feel that there is a lot going on in her mental and emotional space. Mm-hmm. Like, and so she has the care and concern of all three of our adult sons and our daughter-in-law, and about close to 100 women in our church that she's involved in, and then very close relationships of women and marriages in our church. And whatever, it's hard for her to separate all those things. And so for us, in order to like really get free, like on our sabbatical or going on vacation, it helps both of us to get away in order to like get some of that mental freedom and just enjoy one another. Yeah. Because and I used to get really upset about it, but I had to learn, like, no, as a woman, that is what she's experiencing. And I can't just come in and expect her to go, I'm dropping everything. I'm going to meet you at the door with a hug. Because my love language is words of affirmation and physical touch. I would have loved to have married a woman that dropped everything the second I walked in and came and hugged me. I did not marry that woman. And that's okay. I'm totally fine with it now. But those were some expectations I had in the early days. And so, yeah, what I've learned is she's caring a lot, and she's thinking through a lot all at once, where, yeah, I am now home. I'm ready to be at home.
Do you feel like that's true for most women, Becky, that they're kind of aware of the load of like having all these tabs open and running?
I mean, women want to please. They want to succeed in all of these different roles, either they've placed on themselves or society places on them. And like Scott said, it doesn't seem to end. If you, whether you're at home or whether you're at work or in your marriage relationship, it just women feel a big burden to, I don't know if perform is the right word, but to fulfill so many expectations from so many different people in so many different ways. And that can be really heavy. And so when you feel like your husband might have expectations, unfortunately, he's the one that gets the least of your mental energy because he's the one closest to you and he's the one that has to be there with you. And, but yeah,
easy to take advantage of the people closest to us, right?
it is. It is. It's easiest to just say, well, that they have to stick around. So they're just going to have to deal with this fact that I'm depleted and done. But a lot of feeling or needing like you need to perform and fulfill.
Well, it does seem like, and the problem with speaking about men and women, which you said so well at the very, very beginning, is that men and women are very different, but all women are also very different, and all men are very different. So even the language of like who's the man and the woman in the relationship is kind of funny. I mean, there are ways in which I'm far more emotional than Marguerite, and she's far more logical, especially when it comes to decision making. So
Right.
So anyway, our culture has these categories of maleness and femaleness. But really, if you start with the Bible, those categories look different. I mean, think of David, as a warrior, but also as a poet, who would...
And a dancer.
And a dancer, apparently. Yes. I mean, so, even globally, presently, masculinity and femininity are not easily universally dropped into two different buckets. But it does seem that, at least in our culture, there are just standards for women. There's like an expectation. You even see this in like women's events versus men's events. Like you planned the spring fling, which is unbelievable. It's like Disneyland by the time you're done with, you guys are done with that room.
Or like what they do to prepare for we probably should get moving on to the next point. But the women's retreat preparation, because I observe it. They come over to the house. They talk through every single person. And then they create a gift bag for each person, not individually. They all get the same gift bag, but still, there's a gift bag. They think painfully through who's going to stay with whom and what room, and like, well, what will that mean? And we're like, yeah, random. Like you're just getting placed.
There's
no
pizza
gift
on the
bag.
table.
Yeah. We'll have snacks.
I'll say that just to maybe tie this up a little bit.
Yeah.
There's so many things in our different roles and we want to do them. Like we want to be a great mom. We love being moms. We love being wives. I love being the women's director. There's so many things that you want to do. You want to do it with excellence. The tricky part is when you get stuck with comparison, which is so sorry to slam social media, but that's a huge issue where you're comparing how other people are doing it to how you're doing it. And we just set these bars so high and it takes the joy out of doing these things that you really love to do.
Totally. So before we go on, just to, like the last thought here is there anything that men just really could know about how to make that load lighter for their wives? Is there any advice? I think one obvious one is just know that, right?
Yeah.
Like know the difference,
Yes.
But anything else you guys want to throw in?
Just to say, like, I know you've got so much going on, and I am here to support and love you.
Yeah.
Also, I think from our end, to bring in, to not, for men to think about their expectations and to realize she's not trying to ignore you or deny you, but that she's carrying this mental load. And with each role that's added to her plate, the more the load gets weightier. So like, when you first get married, maybe it's simple. There's work and then your home life with just the two of you.
Yeah.
Then you add a dog, it gets slightly more complex. But then you add kids and maybe even more work responsibilities for both of you or whatever, or she decides to stay home, which then that might even complicate things even more because she's now home and maybe she would rather be at work. And it's like, the weight adds over time. And so you shouldn't be surprised that when you come home to engage, it's not going to feel like what you would want necessarily. So I guess it's learning to give her the freedom to be her and just try to understand her instead of like feeling personally judged or let down. It's not really all about you. It's like, yeah.
And this is where communication comes in, which I think we're talking about also today.
Yes, totally. And the great transition there. The scripture that kind of anchors this is 1 Peter 3:7, which says this, in the same way, you husbands must give honor to your wives, treat your wife with understanding as you live together. So 2 key words in that passage are honor and understanding. And I think, yes, just knowing that women are different, understanding that is one thing, but also honoring it. It's not a weakness. It's not a flaw. It's a difference in how God has designed us. And if you can comprehend that, like for me, the image of a desktop with all these tabs open is really helpful as a guy, just to be able to like, oh, she's got a lot of things on the screen. You know, so if I come to her, I'm just sliding one more thing onto a screen that's already full of windows. And just using that language, I've even asked Marguerite, like, hey, so like what kind of windows are open right now?
Yeah.
So it's,
That's really good.
We want to get better at communicating. Yeah. So
That's really good.
What's the difference in how we talk to each other? How do you want to get into this one? Obviously, men communicate in a foreign way to some women, I think. Like sometimes Marguerite sees how Scott and Carson and David and I text each other, and she's like, "You're so mean."
Yeah.
Or like, "I can't believe
It's our love
you said that."
language.
It's like we love each other. You know, it's like if I'm ribbing somebody or trolling them, it's like that's because we're close.
Yeah.
Women don't seem to.
Women
Sarcasm.
don't like that, really.
No, it doesn't seem like you do.
That's been I'm still learning this.
What help us cavemen understand,
Right,
Becky? What do
right.
women like when it comes to communication?
You know, just tell us. I love, let me make it clear, I love laughing. And I think Scott is hilarious. And he knows what will make me laugh, but he also
Should know.
chooses to use things that he knows won't make me laugh, that will make his friends and his sons laugh. So that is ongoing. But I just like sometimes, you know, when you're talking, you just want the answer. You know, you just need to know the answer because you got a lot of tabs open and you just need the answer so you can move on.
So clarity is helpful.
Clarity.
Yeah.
One of the examples we were talking about in our group was just communicating that throughout the day, like the wife really does want to know, especially if she's doing dinner or especially if she is, you're making plans to do something. If there's any kind of change in plan, because most of the time, again, this is a generalization, but most of the time women are kind of running the show in terms of schedules and possibly meals, although Scott cooks for me. And it's wonderful.
Scott's pretty good.
It's wonderful.
Thank you.
It wasn't always that way, but it is now, and it's great. But just to communicate about changes to schedule, letting, not assuming that she's just going to know everything, letting her know, like, I'm going to be out of town for 2 days.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times throughout our marriage I have not shared with her that I was going like out of town for 2 or 3 days and be like, oh, did you know that Tuesday I'm going to Dallas? Or,
Oh boy.
no. Did I tell you about Nashville? Like, when did you find out about? You found out about
the
that
week
pretty
before.
early. Okay.
But that's okay.
No,
It just when women ask a question, they just want a good answer, just a straightforward
good
answer, not a lot of silliness. And
Because usually I'm just cracking jokes. Like, she's like,
Yeah, Marguerite does not like. Here's the real problem, and this isn't. I know this should be next episode, but look, sometimes a guy has the chance to say something so funny,
Right.
and his wife's the only one who can hear it,
Right.
but it's a bro joke,
Right.
and I've had to learn.
well, imagine raising 3 sons.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Becky. You must be a saint. You had so much broness in your home.
Again, I love to laugh. I think it's great. There are some things I just don't think are funny. I'm one of 5 girls in my family, so there's certain issues we just didn't joke about. But no, I want Scott to have fun with communicating, and I want him to have fun communicating with me. And he knows there's certain ways, certain deliveries that he gives me that are just great. But I think he can also, every guy can learn to read the room better.
Yeah.
And when your wife is ready for a zinger and something funny, and when she just
is not
ready for such.
Some of the key points from the conversation, I'll read some. Women are pivoting constantly. You can affirm this or deny this, Becky, but just updates like you'll be late for dinner. Something changed. You're going out of town. They said men need to communicate probably 3 or 4 times more than they actually do, or that they think is necessary. Updating, not updating is an enormous frustration. I'll be home at 6:30, not 6. It takes 10 seconds, but can change everything. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think when you when you communicate, it also communicates care, right? It's like when you think, oh shoot, I'm going to be 30 minutes late, I should tell my wife that. I am assuming the female kind would feel like, oh, well, he's valuing me. He's thinking about me, even in a small way.
Right.
I feel like
For sure.
I'm not an afterthought to him. It's back to the last episode. It's prioritizing, right? Like you're showing them.
That is a great way to put it, that we are not the afterthought, that that you're thinking of us throughout the day and wanting us to know what's up.
So we're about to get into, if we can, intimacy. Can I take us there?
Yeah, I think one last thing about communication is I think one of the things, guys, we need to learn, because we're also not very in touch with our feelings. It's not that men don't feel. We do. I mean, I'm probably more emotional than Becky, but I'm probably not necessarily great at communicating my feelings, or even, I think we men could really improve at communicating what we're feeling, thinking, if we're hurt, if we're disappointed, just communicating it, and not in a mean way, but just saying, hey, this is how I'm feeling, or this is what. And it takes some men a long time to even process what they're experiencing as feelings, but learning to speak up.
I have appreciated that Scott is a really good communicator, and that when something is going on, like we want to talk about it. And you might need a couple minutes to calm down or whatever, but we want to talk about it. And he's really good at saying, this is how I feel. This may not be what is real, or you may not have meant it that way, but this is how I feel.
Yes.
And so that's a really good word to use. And that communicating it's hard, and it makes you feel uncomfortable, and you feel like you're just fighting sometimes. But the end result is that you understand each other better, and that you feel like you've been heard. Yeah. And you can move forward.
Yeah, I mean, there is some bedside manner in how you talk to your spouse, and it's helpful sometimes to say, hey, like, I want to talk about something that's kind of hard, and I don't want to be attacking, but like, I'm feeling a lot. Is it okay if I just shoot this out there? Like, can I have Margaret and I'll do this. Yeah. Hey, can I just process this? Like, no offense, but can I just process it and just know that it's just what I've got to get it out, and I'm not sure if this is what I want to say, but I've just got to start talking.
Right, that's a great way to say it.
Having those kind of entryways are really good. And I do want to say, as we move into intimacy, I think it's important to note, when it comes to emotions, in the For Men Only book, one of the things it brought up is the pop-ups. So not only are there windows for women, multiple browser tabs or what have you, but there are these pop-ups that happen. So tell me if... What's that?
Clickbait. That's what the young kids are saying.
Yeah, well, tell me if this rings true to you, Becky. It says women regularly experience uninvited thoughts, worries, or feelings from the present or the past that pop up and interrupt their day. And it talks about just how, in broad strokes, women are verbal. In a comparative way, generally speaking, men are visual. So every guy will understand what I say. Like, men have unwanted images pop into their head. What this book is claiming is that for a lot of women, it's like that with words. It's like that with things that are said, right? So it's like, if you think back to something that was said to you a long time ago, you can start to feel that emotion it's almost like you have to battle sometimes the pop-ups. And so when I talked to Marguerite about this, she said, that is so true for me. I don't know if you feel that's true for you, Becky, but I think in general, I feel like women are able to kind of catalog messages and things that are said. And I think that's why it really matters that guys love their wives with their speech.
Yeah.
Like what you say actually matters.
Yeah. Speech is super important. And you do. Everyone knows this. You will remember the 10 bad things said about you and hardly remember the one good thing that was said about you. For some reason, negative things have a way of staying in there longer. And so what you say and the way you say it, your tone and your delivery, it just can make or break a conversation, can make or break how you react to each other that day, that week.
Yeah, this is really more what we're focusing on what women want men to know, but I will say that one thing that they would like us to know is to learn to be more thoughtful with our words, I think, right? And Becky has had to give me hard feedback again and again and again, often with the way I say something.
Yeah.
And tone, and I just will not be aware of it. And it will often it literally will not be what I intended at all. But she's been great at communicating with me, and I guess this is just helpful of like, it literally feels like you're scoffing at me or you're belittling me with your tone. I'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, because that's not what I intended. But it's like, well, what did you intend by a scoff? And I'm like, oh, I was cherishing you in that moment. Like,
it is funny though how, a lot of times for guys, it's like you mean what you say what you mean, and it seems like with women, if I can, speak sort of in a dangerous position here, but it seems like with women, sometimes there are things behind the words too, right? And they're like, you want conversations to go deeper sometimes. Sometimes you say something and it's an invitation to connect, and it's not just a statement, but it's like hey, like work was really great today. And if a husband's like, oh, cool. It's like, well, that was maybe like an effort to...
It was a bid.
and but this gets us into the subject of intimacy. And so I think these are actually connected because, in our notes here, you guys were saying that this was one of the more emotionally charged parts of the conversation is intimacy. And that makes a lot of sense because... For
sure. The whole idea of sex is extremely sensitive and fragile because so many people have had so many different kinds of experiences. And it is a major function of our lives and bodies and relationships, and it can affect things for the rest of your life. And so, again, just here, even as we talk in generalizations, knowing that a lot of people come from a lot of different places, either abuse or just fear, or the way that it was talked about when they were younger. And so it's we handle this topic with kid gloves, but we handle it. We talk about it. We really need to talk about it and let people know that it can be, you can talk to anybody in the church leadership, because it's an extremely important topic that is a central part of your marriage relationship. And so we don't ever want anyone to feel like, well, this is just my own little private part of my life. You can talk to people about it. You're not alone in these discussions. We want to talk about it.
And that's really good. And it's interesting that you went immediately to physical intimacy, because that's where guys always want to go, right? Mm-hmm. But obviously, it's a lot more than that for women and men.
Yeah. They're obviously connected.
Yeah, that all levels of intimacy are bound together because we're human. But like for women, is it true, Becky, that like that is especially true? I made the joke, a few episodes earlier that I said, if a man wants sugar at night, he's got to be sweet all day.
Yeah.
Was that a bro joke, Becky?
That was. And we talked about it. I said, a girl doesn't want to hear that.
Yeah,
a girl doesn't want to hear that. A girl wants to just know that she's she's going to just have fun with her husband, and they're just going to laugh, and they're going to feel at ease, and they're going to feel like they're friends. And when you just have a fun day of connecting and talking and
Feeling intimate.
yeah, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could just be fun connection, just talking and being heard, laughing.
But don't the multiple windows impact intimacy,
Yes.
right? Both physical and emotional. So it's like
Big time.
If a guy's going on a date with his wife, I think if he really wanted to, and he should, my gosh, it's his wife after all, but if he really wanted to just be fully present and be thinking about nothing except his wife and the date they're on, I think guys could probably do that. Especially like sex is another example. It's like, men are microwaves, women are ovens. They're all these, tacky sayings. But the truth is that like a guy, because most men, generally speaking, because they are so visual, that is all, the visual is all they need to be intimate. Being married to a woman, I know that my wife is different, right? Like when there are things going on, it's like that impacts if we can have a profound conversation, or even if we have a date and I plan a date and we go somewhere, her ability to enjoy it. Well, if she's got like 20 browsers open and they're all negative, they're all weighing on her.
Yeah.
She's not just going to switch that off. A guy gets on a golf course with his friends, everything is switched off.
Right.
He's just golfing.
When we were younger, we go on dates, and this is something Becky and I really want to encourage couples to do, especially younger couples. And it's so hard. It's hard to find a good sitter or whatever, but like you've got to get out. But one of the things that I discovered as a husband was that just what you said. We would go out and all the tabs would be open. And I just was like, let's just have fun. Can we just have fun? Or, and there were times when I had tabs open too, like really stressful things at church or something. But like, there would be a lot of times where I would just need to hear, like I would need to listen, like what's going on in her life right now? What is she worried about with the boys? What's going on at church in her life? What is happening? And even the thing that she would want to do at times on a date that I hated, but she needed to do to get the tab closed was like calendar. Oh. Like we'd be at happy hour somewhere going, remember, we have Intro to New Valley on this date and we have this and we're having these people over. And I'd just be like, on a date? Are you kidding me?
The tabs have to be closed.
But I would have to say, I didn't have this language because I'm not the metaphor king like you, but I'd be like, the tabs... We're closing tabs here, right? Click, click, click.
We're closing tabs. To open a tab.
To open a tab.
At happy hour. Well, so is that true, Becky? Can husbands help their wives close tabs?
Yeah, for sure. And and I know, like on a date, I know a date is. It depends on what your date is for, right? There's different reasons, different for dates. Like you might just need a date to plan, to go over your budget, to go. I mean, maybe using it as the word date isn't the best vernacular, because a date in my mind is like you go out, like a girl gets dressed up. She takes time to like do herself up. And the guy.
Should guys get dressed up?
Yes.
Talk about that for a minute, truly.
Good. Smell good.
Burn the cargo shorts.
Good. Look good, smell good. Take time. Think about where you want to go.
Make a plan.
Make a plan.
Ooh, this wasn't even in our notes, but Becky, help men know how to make a good date. Yeah.
It's fine to ask. You make a plan.
Yeah.
You make a plan. And it's fine to ask her, do you like this plan? And if she doesn't, then adjust.
New plan.
But have a plan. Put some thought into it. The whole, where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want? I just like to know, like, you're dressed up and ready to go. I'm dressed up and ready to go. Yeah. We've both been thinking about this. And I do. I need to know, a day in advance. We've talked about giving me a 24-hour,
intimacy
request
notice
window.
I
would like to make an appointment.
I think guys can do this, and
they can do it because they did it to woo their wife.
Exactly. So when a guy is planning to propose to his wife,
yes,
that is a great example of how he's feeling all the love,
writing songs.
He's got some crazy plan, and I have proposed,
and they're getting crazier.
They get crazy.
They don't have to be crazy.
But a guy would never say.
A
guy would never just like. He would think about what he's wearing. actually, when he proposes to his
Yes.
wife.
Yeah.
He would think about a few things like, what is she wearing? Like, there are ways guys know how to do this. I think part of the issue is when you're, and this is the 4 loves from C.S. Lewis, but it's like when you're in love, when it's eros, when you're just feeling this attraction, you have these emotions that make you want to run up a mountain, and you will do all these things. And C.S. Lewis says, like, eros is a good servant, but a cruel master, and you can't serve that emotion forever.
No.
But what it does is it shows
And it comes
you,
and goes.
but it shows you the way you should agape love your spouse. Like, these are the links that you can and ought to go to. But what happens is in marriage, you get married, and a lot of times this happens. It's like the guy is just Risanara to like win the wife, you know. He's doing,
Risanara, right.
I'm gonna keep
I
using
thought that's what you were going to say.
I want people
was
to think I'm
thinking of
very
that word also.
cool. but a guy will do everything to woo her, but then it's like they settle, right? And the seasons of marriage.
And that is, we're onto something here, man. When everyone gather around the transistor right now and listen to me. My young
Ron
brothers
Wolfley.
and sisters.
Sports radio, local sports radio, for those of you wondering what he's talking about.
Listen, for real. Romantic feelings come and go. I have loved Becky Brown every day of our marriage. I have been in love many times and felt that feeling has come and gone. And I can say this because we've discussed this 1,000 times. And absolutely the same is true for you, right? Mm-hmm. There will be times we'll be at home or on a date and I'll go, I am absolutely in love with you right now. And she knows that doesn't mean I quit loving her at some point, but I'm feeling the romantic again.
Yeah.
And that actually is important. It is.
Yeah.
You need to cultivate that. But if you're not feeling it in a moment, especially in some of these difficult seasons where developing any kind of intimacy, sexual, emotional, all that, physical, it is going to come and go. It's going to be challenging at different points. But realizing, don't be in despair because in a moment, in a season, even if it's a long one, you're not feeling eros or romance. Mm-hmm. And it can be cultivated and kindled back. And one of the things I want to challenge men on is to consider, like when you were dating this woman and you're doing everything you could to get her to marry you, what did you do? But here's a thought experiment I often do when you and I are out, and I'll even sometimes tell you. I'll say to myself, if by God forbid I were single again, and I think that would mean, sadly, you would have passed, but like, if I were single and I were out with you, literally you, not hypothetical person, but you on a date, I'll say to myself, what would I do to get this woman, Becky Brown, to marry me? And it would be like literally anything, you know? I would do anything.
Yeah.
I would be on my best behavior. I would be engaged. I would dress up. I would buy tickets for anything. I would be ready to spend money. I would do anything to woo this woman to me. And so,
and
so brothers, lean in to the transistor and listen. You think about it. If you lose her through your action or inaction someday, or even if you don't literally lose one another, but you start to back up from one another, like, what would it take? Like, what would you do to get a woman like the one you're married to? And I hope you can say, like, I would do anything.
Yeah.
Well, women want to be cherished, and like that word, like think about what that word means. They want to be cherished and they want to be pursued in a dating relationship.
Yeah.
And they want to be cherished and pursued in a marriage relationship.
Yeah. And yes.
However,
yes,
that might lead us into this section about talking about seasons.
We should totally go into that. So, okay, in one sense, what Scott is saying is you will fall in and out of love over and over again with whoever you marry. So
the Kellers, Tim and Kathy Keller, in The Meaning of Marriage say you always marry the wrong person.
Yeah. You go to bed with Rachel. It's always Leah. That's the Keller line.
She had weak eyes.
And bad breath in the morning.
In a weird way, that's a constant actually, and people need to know that, to not put way too much stock in being in love, because people marry for being in love, but you fall out of it and they get very disillusioned, But that's a constant. You will, whoever you marry, you will fall in and out of love with them over and over again.
Yeah.
And yet there are some biological realities, right, that actually change. That this is not cyclical. It's linear. Like it's new territory, right? So there are different seasons of marriage, and I know nothing about this, right? So why don't you guys talk us through what it's like to be seasoned and in love, well seasoned.
Extra seasoning.
It's Scott's birthday this week, I think, isn't it?
That's right. Scott is turning a certain number, y'all.
I'm never going to say it.
Can I say it? Why can't we
No,
just say
I don't
it?
want to talk about it. I truly don't. Moving on.
Moving on. So tell us about women, Becky, and seasons, intimacy across the seasons. Is there anything you want to share on that before we move on?
Yeah. That I go back and forth to say how I want to say this, that it's because we're talking about what women want men to know. However, I think it's important to remind my sisters out there that sex is a part of what God created to, of course, be fruitful and multiply and have these sweet kids. And it's a way for our husband and wife to connect on every level. And so it really is at its core a gift to one another.
Yeah.
Hopefully a gift you've saved from one another, but that may not have been the case. But it can always be a gift that you give to one another. In any season, that's going to be harder. So in that first season when you have little kids and you are tired and you have been, had all these people around you needing you all day long, like literally physically on you.
All of these people.
You may not want to be pursued in that moment.
You're touched out, right?
In a sexual way.
And then I'm over here going, hey,
look at me. And so just it's so important for guys and girls to remember that. And I saw this on something that what looks like a rejection of the husband is simply more a depletion. I simply have nothing left to do give you right now.
This is, so once again, young men, young fathers, Hunter, others, gather around and listen. This is a season, and I plead with you to remember, but I'm going to tell a funny story with Becky here, which will be good. It was a sad story, though, at the moment, but it is a season. And that season was very challenging for me. It really was. I felt a bit duped, if I'm honest, because we had a very healthy, all forms of our intimacy were really flourishing prior to having 3 sons. And it got more challenging with each child, right? You're in the middle of it, 3 kids who are 3 and under. And so as it increased, the one thing I did well, I will say, is I kept speaking up. And so men do that. Like, it was not easy for me to do, but I would constantly say, I feel like we're becoming more like roommates and co-parenters, but not husband and wife. Like, I feel disconnected from you. I'm having a hard time feeling loved if we're not physically intimate, or if you're not showing any interest. And I think that's one thing I did well, was speak up, right?
Yeah.
But it was hard for you, and you were honest, and you've always been honest. And one time in her honesty, where I can literally remember the emotion of it, she said, "Scott, where I am right now, I don't care if I'll ever have sex again." And I was devastated.
Yeah.
And I felt like I married the wrong woman. Like, I did. I went from feeling like I'd married the perfect woman to, oh no, I married the wrong woman. And she literally said, like, and it's not you. And this didn't help. She goes, if I were married to Brad Pitt, I still would feel this way. And I'm like, you're not helping at all.
I can't become Brad Pitt.
It's even worse. Like, if I get like a Brad Pitt augmentation, I somehow could become Brad Pitt. Even then. And I was close. I was getting really close. I had luxurious hair.
Did you wear a toupee?
Oh, yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah, I had the Brad Pitt toupee. It was awesome. No. And so it got that bad is what I'm trying to say. And we made it through that season with a lot of sad communication where I would say time and again, I feel like we're too disconnected. But she would be honest and also caring. She would say, I'm sorry. I love you. I know this is important. I beg God. I'm praying for the Lord to help me. She would say, and we would work towards it. But I will say there is light if you are in a flourishing marriage that's working towards health. On the other side is intimacy at every level again. And, but you've got to make space. You do need to make space for one another for that, even in these seasons.
Well, and it's important because the facts are facts. Biological facts are biological facts.
That's right.
That men physiologically do have a desire and a need for release. I'm not a man, but these are the things I've heard, read. And so we don't look at it as like, well, it's my wifely duty. I just got to do the thing. That's where it can become this gift. And that's where you talk about it and go, guess what? It's not going to be crazy. It's not going to be like,
what's it going to be like? Can you fill that out a little bit?
I'm not going to talk about what crazy.
I want to hear a Hunter analogy right now, a metaphor.
It's not going to be crazy. It's just going to be a gift to one another. Like, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. And so
now people are going to think like, well, what's crazy?
They don't need to. But what they do need to think is about communication. I think they go together. What I was going to say, I want you to finish that thought, Becky. Yeah. I do want to move us to one more segment. We probably have time for one more. But what I wanted to say is I think communication is so important for intimacy. And I think early on in marriage, Marguerite and I were given the counsel to, read a couple of these books, which are, there are like the sex books that you have to read when you marry someone. And there are some I could recommend, but I'm almost embarrassed too, because they're all bad in a way, but they're all necessary. But what you need to get with your spouse, I think, is the ability to actually have real communication about sex life and about your intimacy. Yeah. And you should be able to talk to your spouse about, these are the things that make me feel loved. Yeah. These are the things that don't. And of course, if you have that skill, I just feel like across the seasons of marriage, then you could use it, right? Yeah. And you could be able to say, hey, things feel different. Things are different. Like obviously Marguerite, had a baby 6-7 months ago. And it's like every guy who's had a kid knows that when your wife is going through this crazy biological change of building and birthing a baby, you need to know that things are different sexually and even emotionally, right? So I think communication is kind of key. Becky, what would you say to us? Anything else about intimacy before we move on?
Yeah. Just as we were talking about the seasons, there are a lot of things that affect all the different seasons. Your monthly cycle, your hormones, whether it's menopause, perimenopause. And so just to keep those things in mind as you do communicate and just talking of communication in itself can be hard, but you hit it on the head that it is super important to talk about. And when I talk with gals, it seems like I find myself saying a lot because this is what I felt like I wish I could go back and do more with Scott and I, to communicate. We are for each other. We are for this marriage. We are for intimacy. We understand that it's important. Like I get that, Scott, it's important for you. You know that it's important for me. And we're for each other. And just because it's looking different right now in this season doesn't mean this is the way it's always going to be. Yeah. And we don't want it to always be this way. So let's communicate how we can get through this, still show each other we're for each other and that we love each other.
Yeah.
Things might look a little different.
Yeah, that's so good. Okay, guys, I think we have time for one more segment. And, the two that we had lined up were kind of about leadership in marriage and what women want their husbands to know. And the other was about pornography. And I think we should go to that last one. But what do you guys think? Scott?
Yeah, the leadership one we're going to do in a separate spiritual leadership. We're going to do a bonus episode that we might even drop between the two.
Yeah,
and
we had talked to that about that being
so
a
we're going to do that.
Is that where we're going to talk about where women wish men would know, like, we don't want to be your mom?
Yeah, let's hit that. Let's hit that quickly.
Would you riff on that, Becky, for a moment?
Yeah, I mean, of course, whether you have kids or not, you don't want your spouse to be a child. You want them to be responsible.
Wait. Really?
You want them to be responsible. You want them to see. You want them to know. You want them to make decisions about how they can be helpful without you asking.
Yeah.
Having said that, though, I go the direct approach. If I see something not being done, too long did you just go, well, why didn't he do that? So I just say, can you do that? Will you do that? But we want to know that we are partners in the marriage, and nobody wants, and guys are like, all the time I hear guys say, like, I don't want you to be my mom. Like, I've got a mom. I don't need you to be my mom. But sometimes they act like you're their mom.
Yeah, and
so
maybe women are saying,
you say you don't want that.
I love it when women
say,
imitate men.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be my mom.
They really make us sound like bozos, which we are.
By the way, I don't think I've ever said
anyway.
that.
But guys are saying, well, don't be my mom.
Yeah.
But wives are saying, well, I don't want to be your mom.
I don't want to do that. That's the last thing I want to do.
All over the house.
I just need you to look, see, be aware, and do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
And we'll probably hit that some more in another episode. But yeah, what about spiritual leadership, Becky? Any just quick thought on that? Like what?
Well, we're going to do a whole episode on that.
Will Becky be on that episode too?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let's just hop over it. So the last segment is pornography, and just speaking as a guy, guys. This becomes an idol. They get sucked into to their sexuality so much so that it's like it becomes this addiction.
Yeah.
And God designed it. A gift is such a good word, Becky. God designed sexuality as a gift. It's more blessed to give than to receive. With your sex life, to have a spouse and to give them the gift of your sexuality, that's how God designed it. It's something that you're supposed to be generous with, not hoarding with, not selfish with, which is what pornography, masturbation, all these things are. It's turning sex inward. It's making it about you.
Right.
It's all about you. It's all about you getting pleasure, and you have to do no work, no effort, right? And so we obviously want to talk about pornography, which is basically just sexual addiction. You could even make it more general. And we want to start, I think, by saying we'll have to address this in the next episode where we talk about
this is from the perspective of what a wife wants a husband to do.
Yeah.
Right.
So what we want to do is sort of set the table and say, okay, we want to allow women to say to us, men, here's what we want you to know about pornography in marriage. And it's okay if there's some emotion to it and it's raw.
Yeah.
Like, we just want to know.
Yeah.
You guys had this conversation with some women.
Yeah.
Like, tell us maybe what are the things they want guys to hear, and we're expecting some of it to be hard.
It
Men,
is. It's so tough. It's so tough that it makes us so sad. It makes women very, very sad. And it doesn't matter if men say, it's not because of you. It's nothing about you or any lack. It's just, and men will have more of a chance to talk about why they go there, or women, or why women go there. Say it's not about you, and it's like, but it hurts so badly because we feel like it's about us.
Yeah.
That there is a lack, that there is something not
Comparison.
there, a comparison, or that there's just lack. Why would you do that? You're married, and so it can be a lot of misunderstanding. Like, women that don't struggle with pornography, they can't understand why a man would hurt his wife like that.
Yeah.
Why he would risk so much pain. And we do understand that it is an addiction, normally it leads to an addiction. And we get that addictions are hard to explain or hard to understand if you're not one addicted with that. But it really hurts and it's really painful. And desperately want, with any kind of addiction, our husbands to be with other men, having accountability, not just once a month. Like, men need accountability, especially if they've fallen in this area, because you don't know when it's going to happen. No addict maybe knows when they're going to be vulnerable. Some things make you more vulnerable than others, but to be in constant communication, whether you're having it's been a year, it's been 2 years, it's been a week since you've fallen, but to have people in your life understanding, we will feel safer. We will feel more, because we don't want to be the ones. We can't be the ones going, how are you doing? We don't want to do that. That shouldn't be our job.
You don't want to be a mom in this area.
I don't want to be
life.
a mom.
Yeah.
I want him to take it seriously. Whether you've ever struggled with pornography before, every guy struggles with lust.
Yeah.
And again, generalization, but we want to know that you are doing something about it and that you are being proactive, whether you have fallen in it before, to avoid it like the plague, because it's extremely painful to us.
It's a good word. And to young men, the thing that I've said so many times is so many young men think that this is a compromise between them and the Lord. Even if they know it's wrong, they'll say, well, I'm not married yet. I'm still single. And so I don't have this outlet and I don't have a wife. And so I'm going to make this excuse.
God made me this way. I have to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
They
I'm
might
visual,
compromise that
I have
way.
A physical need.
Yeah, I'm wired this way. What
and
am
I
I supposed to do?
understand that those are real feelings, but the end for that desire, if you keep turning to pornography before you're married, there is not like this magic wand that just is waved over you because I now pronounce you husband and wife, and now the guy is just done. Yeah. Like sometimes that happens, but rarely, and the addiction is carried into the marriage. And so we'll talk about it from the man's perspective and what the man would want his wife to know about that struggle next time. But it's important for men to know. So if you're not yet married, young men, please, and older men who are not married, like deal with it now. Don't try to experience, do everything you can to experience healing from that addiction and that sin, because it's sin. Yeah. And there should be no compromise then now, is in no matter what state you're in. If you're married, deal with it now. And
don't be embarrassed to talk about it with your friends.
It's so hard, right? There's so much shame and embarrassment. But please deal with it now.
You've got to, a band of brothers, as they say. You're literally going through war.
And it's way more than just, guys, truthfully, don't just need accountability. And I love everyone does need accountability, especially with addictions, but it's even more than that. You even look at like what heals a person through an addiction. It's not just accountability, right? It's relationship. It's to bind up that which is broken and take it to Christ. And but some of it is accountability, right? Yeah. And your wife is not your best accountability partner.
You're saying that's a real value to women, is like
to know
that like, hey, my husband's not just managing this. Like if he confesses this problem, it's like you want to know that he's taking some real action on it, right? So
yeah, and another public service announcement for our men's retreat this year. We're actually going to be talking about this very subject. Holiness is the broader issue, but like what it means to
applying the gospel to our sexuality.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be it. And it's we're really looking forward to having those honest and real conversations.
Totally. I think we're about ready to wrap it up, guys. But I want to know, especially from you, Becky, is there anything else, especially in this part of the segment, that you would want women would love to tell their husbands this, just about their battle with lust, right? What women want their husbands to know this.
That we want our husbands to know about their battle with lust?
I guess thinking about men and the issue of pornography, just in general, what do wives wish their husbands knew? Anything else?
I think we covered. I think those are the two big things. It's painful. It hurts. We take it personally.
Yep.
We do take it personally.
Yes.
Whether you mean it that way or not. And this is something you need help with. You will not be able to do this on your own.
Yeah. And I think we typically close our episode with a good word, a benediction, you know? So I'd love for each of us to maybe think about that if you have one. But I would just want to say to guys, you know, I know this is mainly aimed at what women wish you knew, but I think as a pastor, you want guys to know, especially with pornography, it's like, there is hope for you. Yeah. Like, you can overcome this sin. You actually can get freedom from it, and your spouse, you can have a flourishing marriage. You know, we talk often about, Thomas Chalmers wrote this, The Expulsive Power of a New Affection.
Yes.
It's like, obviously, spiritually speaking, Christ must be that for everything else. But in your sex life, your spouse can be the expulsive new affection that gets rid of pornography. It's like you can actually love your spouse better. You can actually delight and cherish your spouse, the spouse that God has given you. Yeah. And there, you know, I just want guys to know that there is hope, and I hope women know too. And they'll probably hear this or something in the next episode. But yeah, it's a struggle for guys. It's a struggle for every guy. And but Becky, you're telling us this really does matter to women. Yeah. It really matters to wives.
And I want women to have hope too. Like, it's something that you can move forward from. There can be forgiveness. There can be healing. God can change your heart, and God can soften you towards, you know, someone who has sinned against you. As we will do throughout our lives, we will sin against one another, and we need God's help for forgiveness, and He is the one that can give us the power to do that.
Amen. Scott, any final word?
Yeah, you need the expulsive power of a new affection. The greatest affection we need is not going to be found in our wife, actually. Like, what your wife needs, so I'm not a woman, but I am married to one. And so what I would say to all of us men, what we need is to love Jesus more than we love our wives.
Yeah.
And to do in doing that, you will love your wife so much better. If you are making her your idol, sexually, emotionally, whatever, she can't live up to that.
No.
And she's not your mom. She's your wife. She's not just your sexual partner. She's your wife. She's not just a buddy. She's your wife. Like, but in order for her to take the right place in your heart, Jesus has to be first. And when He is, truly, if He really becomes more and more preeminent in your life, you'll be freed up to love her better, because if she lets you down, you're still okay. You don't need her to be your savior. She can't save you. She can't completely complete you. She can't fill you, but Jesus can. And the more He fills you with His love and His forgiveness and His strength, you then become able to love her better and to have hope. So there's 1,000 deaths in marriage, right? There are. And there's a million joys. But when you're in those seasons where you're feeling discouraged, you need to know Jesus is better, and He will give you the strength to get through those difficult and challenging moments.
That's so good. All sad marriages are based on justice, but all happy marriages are based on grace. Right?
Hallelujah.
It's like,
that's a good one.
That'll preach.
Oh, that's not so bad, right? Just came to me. No, I was thinking, yeah, all happy marriages are built on unmerited acts of kindness. And I'd like to give a final word to C.S. Lewis, just a short quote, but he says, I think it's mere Christianity, but this applies to everything we've been talking about, and I think it's good to aim it at guys like this, but women should hear it too. He says, do not waste time bothering whether you love your neighbor, I'll say love your spouse emotionally. Act as if you did.
Yeah.
And as soon as we do this, we find one of life's great secrets. When you are behaving as if you loved someone, you will presently come to love them. It's such a good word, right?
Such a good word.
That's great.
Becky, you're so great. Thank you for being with us
Thank
and
you.
dropping all this knowledge.
It's fun.
And we'll have you back.
Thank you, Master Aaron, Mastermind.
Magic Man.
Magic Man.
Now he's the magic
Mastermind.
the magic mastermind, Aaron Hansen. Okay, well, this has been another episode of Pastor the People with the one and only Becky Brown. It's been so great, and we want to say thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.